All right, guys, here we go. We are going to be working with, there we go. We're going to be working with, oops, chair fell over. The average value for an integral. It's on in your book. It's on page 295 and 296. So if you guys kind of remember the average value, we're looking for some, it's like the mean value theorem, but this is for integrals. It's not for derivatives, but it's got the same concept. So what we're looking at is we're looking at this idea that there's some value of c, which is going to be here, and that value is going to correspond to a y value that gives us our average height of the rectangles that are going across here. So really what we're finding is this is kind of like the average height for the rectangles, for all those different rectangles that we would find in here. So like if we did, so if let's say this is the average height, then the average height would look like this, and that's going to be pretty close to the value of the integral. So if we go back and look at this, and let me erase this here, right here, like this. So what we're really saying is this, guys. So we know we have f of c, right? And we know that the area of this this rectangle, this big rectangle right here, that's going to be f of c is our height for the average value, and we know that our width will be b minus a. So that's going to be our width. So if we imagine this average size rectangle, there's going to be an average height, which is f of c, and the width will be your boundaries. So we want the area between, underneath the curve between a and b. Well, we also know that that's going to be pretty close to the integral from a to b of f of x dx. So how do I find f of c? Well, I divide by b minus a, and I get f of c equals 1 divided by, or actually let's just do it this way. We get the integral of a to b of f of x dx divided by b minus a, which they turn into this formula. The average value is 1 over b minus a to b f of x dx. That's our average value formula. And it's based on the idea that we're going to find an average sized rectangle with an average height that covers the boundaries, okay? So, again, don't have my towel, so I'm going to have to use my shirt again. That's all right. That's why laundry's good. All right, so how do we tackle this? So f of x equals 4 minus x squared from the interval, the closed interval for 0 to 3, including 0 and 3. At what point does this function take on the average value? At what point? So we need an x and a y. So don't forget our value is f of c equals 1 minus b over b minus a times integral of a to b of f of x dx. So if we're going to set this up, we look at this and go, okay, it's continuous from 0 to 3, it's differentiable from 0 to 3, so we're good. So we're going to say, okay, so f of c is equal to 1 minus b minus 0 times the integral from 0 to 3 of 4 minus x squared dx. So now we're going to work with this. We're going to get 1 over 3 minus 0, which which is 1/3. And we're going to multiply that by the integral of this, which is going to be 4x minus x to the third over 3, evaluated from 0 to 3. Well, if I plug in 0, I get 0 across the board, so we're just evaluating it at 3. So we got 1/3, and I'm going to have that 4 times 3 minus 27 divided by 3, and 0 plugged in doesn't give us anything, so this is 12 minus 9, 1/3 times 3, and f of c equals 1. F of c. So our average height is equal to 1. Okay? So our average height is equal to 1. So we know that this height right here is going to be 1. We know that. Okay? So we know our y value right now, our point, at what point does this function take on the average y value? The average value, I know it's 1, but what point does it? So I need to figure out what c is. So we know that f of c is equal to 1, so we have 4 minus c squared equals 1. If I move this over, I get c squared equals negative c squared equals negative 3. And so therefore divide that, I get c squared equals 3. So c is equal to plus or minus root 3. Well, my interval's from 0 to 3, so I don't want the negative one. So what is my c value? My c value is root 3. So at what point does this function take on the average value? Root 3 and 1. That's how we deal with the average value, guys. We're going to use this formula right here. And we're going to find the average value. Remember, the average value is the average height for a basic imaginary one big rectangle. So we're finding the average rectangle. Find the average height. If they ask for the point, we're going to take the function, substitute c in for it, set it equal to the average height because that's our y value, and then we'll solve for our x value. So this is our average. This is the average. This is the point that takes on the average value. All right, guys, that's the average value introduction. Good luck. Oh, by the way, sorry, that's a little bit like that. You should be good.